The topic of immigration has always been controversial in the history of the United States. We can date this problem even in the earliest days of the U.S. For example, in the mid-1800s, Irish immigrants were scorned as lazy drunks. This reflected negatively on the image of the United States. As we entered a new century, a new wave of immigrants that included Italians, Russians, and Jews were believed to be unable to ever assimilate into the American society and culture. Today, the U.S. is taking a similar anti-immigration approach as we see more immigrants coming to the United States, especially from Latin America and Asia. This wave of immigration that has taken place over the past few decades has resulted in the reopening of the great question that has split America since its beginnings, which is whether America has either benefited or has suffered from immigration. Anti-immigration activists have argued for many years that immigrants have taken advantage of the United States' resources, such as employment opportunities and healthcare, therefore taking them away from American citizens. On the other hand, pro-immigration activists argue that the integration of immigrants in fact helps the U.S. in several ways, such as improving the economy because many immigrants fill low-end jobs that most citizens refuse to do. Anti-immigrant activists have argued that immigrants have taken advantage of the United States' resources, which includes employment opportunities and healthcare from American citizens, which causes a negative impact on the American economy. According to MS Elizabeth Lee Blyett, the state of Arizona has been thrown into a $4 billion budget deficit that can be contributed to the services of illegal immigrants. Approximately 40% of the medical services for illegals are free. This has caused hospitals to struggle because by federal law they are unable to leave a patient unattended for lack of insurance or the ability to pay. Since these immigrants are unable to pay for the costly price of their medical bills, the burden falls on the American people. Taxpayers and healthcare systems are not the only ones who suffer because of immigration. Some of the people that are hit the hardest by this are the poorest and most uneducated people of the country. In recent years, the percentage of native-borns without a high school degree fell from 53 to 48% from 2002 to 2007. This shows that more people without high school degrees are working. These Americans, which are amongst the most uneducated in the nation, are left to compete with the growing immigrant population for the low-end jobs in the country. Since many of these immigrants are also illegal, this also means that they are not paying taxes, which slows the flow of money back into the economy, thus damaging it. Although some might argue that these immigrants drain the nation's resources through the costly federal benefits, successive influence of immigration has kept our nation demographically young and added to our productive capacity by effectively raising the growth of domestic productivity in the economy. Many anti-immigration objectors believe immigration is an undermining cause of the American experiment. However, immigration provides the United States an economic benefit in the global market. Immigrants not only bring in innovative ideas, but a sense of entrepreneurial spirit into the country's economy. In fact, they supply business contacts to numerous markets, therefore developing America's ability to invest and trade profitably in the global economy. In addition, immigrants keep our economy flexible, allowing U.S. producers to respond to changing consumer demands through the reduction of prices. With this said, immigrants also raise the demand for goods. During the long boom of the 1990s, the unemployment rate decreased significantly during a time of relatively high immigration. Through this, many believe that immigrant employers haven't stolen the jobs of American citizens. Conversely, immigrants tend to fill up jobs that Americans cannot or will not take. Because many immigrants are so diverse in skills, they are highly beneficial in developing domestic improvement within the country. Immigrants are represented in such high-skilled fields as medicine, physics, and computer science, but also in low-skilled sectors such as hotels and restaurants, domestic service, construction, and light manufacturing. With this said, it would be irrational to close our borders to skilled and educated immigrants. Many of these immigrants represent human capital that can make our entire economy much more productive. Immigrants have developed new products and technologies that have produced employment opportunities. This leads us to a posing question on whether if immigrants use up the nation's resources to an extent. No, immigrants are not seen as drainers of the government of finances, but rather individuals who have effectively decreased welfare. For example, the 1996 Welfare Reform Act made it much more difficult for new consumers to collect interest. As a result, immigrant use of welfare has declined currently. Regarding the demographics of immigration, immigrants are constantly blamed for causing overpopulation. Without immigration, our labor force would begin to shrink. According to the 2000 census, 22% of the U.S. counties lost population between 1990 and 2000. Immigrants could help revitalize demographically declining areas of the country, just as they helped revitalize cities like New York City with a declining population. By limiting the number of immigrants who enter the United States each year, only would be declining the working population. More importantly, we would lose thousands of potential foreign students if our borders were to be closed. Only accounts for a small portion of the entire immigrant population. In reality, the immigrants of the U.S. has benefited from immigration because they fill many jobs that citizens refuse to do. In addition, their hard work and innovation in the workforce puts more money into the economy, which allows the United States to compete more on a global scale. And although immigration creates overpopulation and can drain the nation's resources through the use of costly federal benefits, the influence of immigration outweighs the assumptions of anti-immigration activists because it has kept our nation demographically young, enriched our culture, and benefited our financial markets by effectively raising the growth of domestic productivity in the economy. Thank you.